Some of you will remember that I made a point a while back that the Black Death, the bubonic plague, had a lot to do with the collapse of the feudal economic system in Europe in the Middle Ages. And I wondered out loud whether we'll be looking back at the COVID viral pandemic as ringing the bell on the capitalist economic system fading out the way feudalism did. So my attention was caught by an essay, and actually a series of writings, that come out of a professor at Cambridge University in England. His name is John Rapley, and he makes an interesting point which I want to bring to your attention. He points out, using many historical examples, that whether a disease marks the end of a system depends on how vulnerable the system is. You can show, and he does that, diseases that have made systems stronger. They've come to the system, they've hurt the system, but they made it stronger. And so he wants us to think not that COVID might not be the end, but if it is the end of capitalism, it's because capitalism was itself vulnerable. So let me comment on that because I think it's a good point. After the 1970s, we had something here in the United States called neoliberalism, a move to get the government out of the economy because the government had come in a big way in the 1930s in our Great Depression, had really changed the economy, taxed corporations and the rich, given programs to the mass of people, Social Security, unemployment compensation, a federal jobs program, and so on. And the business community and the rich were angry that they paid the taxes to fund that program. So starting in the 70s with Margaret Thatcher in England and Ronald Reagan here in the United States, there was a pushback. Get the government out of the economy. Denounce the government. That's what they did. The private is successful. The private is efficient. The government is a burden. The government is dangerous. The government is inefficient. The government is where all the fat is. You get the picture. You all know it because we've all grown up in it. You know what you did when you attacked the government? You made people suspicious and hostile towards the government. You worked at that for decades. And that produces a vulnerability. When a disease hits, you cannot use the government together with the private sector to together mobilize and coordinate to defeat that disease. You can't do it because you've set these two as opposites. You've trained the mass of businessmen and women to hate the government, to see it as a burden, to see it as a threat. Yeah, to get benefits from it when you can, but basically it's hostile and evil. Every president ran for office in this country for years as putting an end to the inefficient government, cutting the government down, making it smaller, on and on and on. So yeah, when the disease hit, when COVID came, our government couldn't get it together with our business community, and they didn't want to lock anything down because that would hurt the private business community, so they didn't. And we had the delay, and we had the failure to accumulate the tests and the masks and all the rest. But now let me drive the point home, the powerful point. There were societies, and I'm going to pick one, the People's Republic of China, which went in a very different way since the 1970s. They didn't demonize the state. The state became the coordinator. If anything, the dominant social force, together with the Communist Party, to mobilize, to organize, to integrate both a public sector, government-run enterprises, and a private capitalist sector, partly Chinese, partly non-Chinese. And these were mobilized to get together to grow China, to make it catch up to the West, to give it social objectives rather than make it an enemy government against the state. So when COVID arrived, they could, and they did, mobilize their system's strength, the coordinated government and private sector, to lock down Wuhan and to really clamp down on this disease, with the result that they've done much, much better in limiting the number of people who have the disease and the number of deaths, way below what we have here in the United States, even though their population is 4 times that of the United States. COVID has taught the Chinese that the way they set up their economy has benefits beyond the economic growth they've achieved. That's what the disease showed them. It made them stronger. Here in the United States, as the struggle over vaccines continues, the disease has driven us further apart, deepened our divisions, deepened our political conflicts and disagreements. It's a testimony to Professor John Rapley's argument that the vulnerability of a society will have a lot to do with how the impact of a disease works itself out.